All right, so in this video, I'm gonna break down the concept of everyone is you pushed out. So this is a great video if you're new to manifesting a specific person, if you're new to law of assumption, or you've been recently introduced to Neville Goddard, and it's definitely gonna be a nice refresher if you're somebody who's already been in this law of assumption game for a minute. So stay tuned, you don't wanna miss this. Hey everyone, I am Kim Velez, a conscious life and success coach, and I'm really happy to be here with you today. So I'm just gonna jump in because I love talking about everyone as you pushed out. It was the game changer for me. It really helped me overcome my old self-concept as well as, manifest a completely different outcome when it comes to my own specific person. So what is everyone as you pushed out? Well, everyone as you pushed out is a spiritual concept that Neville Goddard talked about, who was an amazing teacher way back in the day. And he really shed light, in my opinion, and definitely opened up my eyes to this powerful concept. So this powerful concept, everyone as you pushed out, means whatever's going on in your imagination, which is just your inner world, is pushed out. So it's transmitted out, and then people in your reality show up depending on whatever your beliefs, assumptions, and dominant thoughts are of them and of yourself in relation to them. So that means right then and there that people do not have free will in your reality. They cannot reject your story of how you see yourself in relation to them, and they cannot reject your story of how you see them. Now, what can happen is the more you persist in the story, the more it becomes dominant, will determine how fast somebody conforms typically. Because your dominant inner world or imagination is what is creating your personal experience in your reality. So let's talk about what is imagination, because I think a lot of people don't really teach this. They really make it sound like it's only about mental imagery, and that is far from the truth. So that is one piece of your imagination. I wrote the definition down. So a definition of imagination is the faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of external objects not present to the senses. So what you're doing, especially when you're manifesting a specific person, a new version of someone in your reality that you haven't dominantly experienced yet or you haven't experienced in a long time, is going to be a new idea, a new perspective, a new concept in your mind of who this person is. And then you're going to create a new concept of self in relation to that person. So typically people have an idea that they're being rejected, they're not loved, they're not wanted, they're not chosen. And then they have the story of the SP that confirms that. They don't want me, they're not choosing me, they're this, they're that. And everything that manifests from those two realities, or those two stories in your mind are just circumstances that prove that statement, that prove that assumption that you have about yourself in relation to them, as well as how you see them in your mind. So a lot of people, when they're manifesting a specific person, when we learn this concept, we're like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. But it is one thing to intellectually understand it versus actually living it and implementing it day to day. And this takes constant repetition and reminding yourself every day that you literally are the operant power of your reality and that people do not have free will in your reality. People have to conform to how you see yourself in relation to them, as well as how you see them. So when we're looking at manifesting a specific person, a lot of people struggle with this because we have been sold a line of bullshit pretty much since birth that everyone is separate from us. And that is not true. And that is a very powerful illusion because it has been ingrained and reinforced for us mentally, emotionally, and belief system wise. So we've manifested a lot of experiences in our reality that reinforced us believing that people are separate from us. And we've been trained and conditioned pretty much since birth that we do not have control of how people show up for us. And that is just not true, my friends. We are very powerful and we are responsible for the experiences we manifest with everyone that comes into your reality. When you observe something in your mind, I'm going to use these words interchangeably: mind, imagination, and inner world. All that is what is going on inside of your brain when you're observing something, judging something, noticing something, thinking something, whether you're aware of it or not. Whatever is dominant when you think of this specific person and you think of yourself in relation to them is what has to continuously manifest. So this is why there is no one to change but self, because if everyone is you pushed out, then all you have to do is you change your story of who you are in relation to them and who they are in your mind. And you do that, like the definition imagination says, you do it without being present to your five senses. So you're rebirthing yourself, so to speak, right? You're murdering that old self identity that you had that said, I'm not chosen, I'm not wanted, I'm not good enough. And you're replacing it with a new story without having evidence with your five senses to support and reinforce that new story. That's where blind faith comes in. That's going to be a whole nother video. And you don't even have to say, it's not, some people it's blind faith and other people it's not blind faith. But faith in the unseen, okay? Faith in the power of your imagination, the power of your mind. Faith that you are the operant power. Faith that people do not have free will in your reality. So one of the questions I get constantly on all the social media platforms, which by the way, if you're not with me on TikTok or Instagram, please go check it out. The links are below. I get this all over these platforms where people ask me, well, what about if they want something different or somebody else is manifesting them? Who wins? Well, your story in your mind is what wins. And this is a thing. You don't worry about other people's realities. You only worry about yours because your consciousness or your imagination or your inner world is what creates your experience special to you. So your job is to not worry about other people's, what's going on in their mind, so to speak, of what they want to create. What do you want? Who do you want to be? And what do you want to experience in your reality? Because no one has free will in your mind. You're the only one that has free will in your mind by deciding what thoughts you want to select and focus on over and over again. And this is where persist until it hardens into fact comes into play, because when you start thinking the new story, you can immediately, some of you will immediately get reflections back to you that your thoughts are already, being reflected back to you, your new story. But it doesn't mean it's solidified yet. It doesn't mean it is dominant internally in you and that you've actually believed this whole new story yet. In fact, most of you won't, because it's going to take some time for it to sink into your subconscious mind. It's going to take time for you to accept this new version of yourself, this new idea of who you are in relation to this person, and this new idea of who this person is. Because remember, you're not going to have this consistent evidence for the most part outside of you because it's still lagging in the 3D or it's still reflecting your dominant old story. So everyone as you pushed out is really critical in testing, reminding yourself, because it really shows you thought transmission. It really shows you how powerful you are. And it really shows you that we are not separate. That the belief that we are separate from each other, again, is a very powerful, strong illusion, but it is an illusion nevertheless. It is not truth. It is not fact. So this is where trusting in the unseen comes into play, and just changing your concept of self, because everyone in your reality will have to reflect that back to you. And then changing your concept of this person in your mind, because that person eventually will have to reflect that back to you as well. We just don't really determine how fast it's going to happen. And it will happen as fast as you reprogram yourself. And that is different for everyone. That's a whole different experience for everyone. So I hope this helps. I know that this can be a little confusing at times. Again, this is such a powerful concept, and it's real, and it's working whether you're conscious of it or not. So those people that like to fight and argue and say, no, people can reject what you want, which they can't. They might in the beginning, in the sense that it isn't dominant enough yet where they have conformed, because it hasn't conformed in you enough. But the more you persist until it hardens into fact into your mind, then it will harden into fact in your reality. And that's where people get themselves tripped up a lot, because they keep seeking confirmation and validation from the 3D, and the 3D is old. The 3D sometimes hasn't caught up to your new story yet. Even your specific person, the way they see themselves and see you in the situation may not be caught up yet to your new concept of them and new concept of self in relation to them. This is why you persist until, again, it hardens into fact into your mind, and you believe in your imagination, you believe in your inner world more than you believe in the reality out here, because this reality out here is merely a shadow of this one. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe if you did. If you haven't checked out my workbook yet, I highly suggest you do. It's all about your self-concept and love. The link is below. It is on Amazon. You can click on the link. It'll show you all the different countries of where it's available via Amazon. You can get it on paperback as well as Kindle. And I love you all, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.